Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Stockholm. This
See
is
over there? That is Tre Kronor, the symbol of Sweden, and the palace where they have Nobel Prize dinners. And now I'm turning the camera around, and what you see right here is the House of Parliament. In Swedish, it's called Riksdag. And then you are starting to see a royal palace. That is the one on your right. But I don't think we should stop here. I think you should walk a little bit with me. So, like I said, there was a symbol of the city, and which has become one of the symbols of Sweden, Tre Kronor, or 3 crowns. And it is also Swedish national ice hockey team, which probably many of you know, for its many gold medals and successes. The church, which you see in front of you, is called Riddarkyrkan, or the Church of Knights. A lot of elderly monarchs are buried in it, and it is one which, in a way, on that island, predates with legacy of Viking times. So right now I'm entering the old city, or as it's called in Swedish, Gamla stan. And this place is called, where I'm right now, it's Mynttorget. And this is one of the places where the first non-metal currencies were coined or actually pressed, one of the first national banks in the world. And the person who stands behind it is called Magnus de la Gardie. So it has a huge influence on the financial life of the world, even now, but especially in the past with a lot of inventions. For example, few people might know it, but a lot of technology which stands behind Nasdaq, American exchange, is actually taken from here, from Swedish stock exchange, which is called OMX. The house, which is in the middle of the square near the royal palace, is called Börshuset, or the House of the Bors, the House of Stock Exchange. And its proximity to the royal palace also gives you an adequate answer on the importance of the financial system in Sweden and how important its role has been in the world. One of the empires that Sweden has represented, it has been a part of Hanseatic trade empire. So basically, the foundation of this nation is due to trade and trade wars. And for many reasons, it still remains this way. This country has always cherished its independency, which was very hard fought in different wars. But for over 200 years, this country has managed to stay in peace, which of course is a huge achievement. So, right now we are about to walk in to the central square, or Stortorget. Stortorget is just a stone throw from the royal palace. And it is an absolutely beautiful place. I hope you can take in the atmosphere, breathe, and live Sweden right now with me. As you can see, I've been walking in previous videos and this one, so it's at least half an hour of footage, and nobody is wearing any masks, both inside and outside. Yeah, you might meet an occasional tourist, but it's more like 1 in 100 or perhaps even 1 in 1,000. And this is actually a cafe from the bottom of it is from 1100. And if you go down to its basement, it's one of the best places because it's very cool, even during your hottest day. That's there. Yes, you're all very welcome. Yeah. So this is the central square I was talking about. And as you can see, people are doing that, what Swedish people are best known for. This sort of fika culture, where all the people sort of get out and have actually a cup of coffee with each other or a glass of wine. As you can see, it's almost jam-packed. And I know that in many countries there are a lot of COVID restrictions right now and things like that. But please don't start to talk about this to anybody from Sweden because you might get in a fight. So the house, which you see here, which says Svenska Akademi, is also known as Börshuset. So part of it is dedicated to stock exchange, and another part of it is actually the Swedish Academy. That's where they give out the Literature Nobel Prize. So it happens right here. And then you can see the fountain behind me. That fountain which I just showed you in the middle of Stortorget is very famous because when Sweden fought for its independence with a king which in Denmark is called Christian den Gode, Christian the Good. In Sweden, he's called Christian Tyrann, or Christian the Tyrant, because the Danes lured in a large part of the aristocracy, and on this big square, after having a dinner with them, Danes took out Swedish aristocracy and beheaded hundreds of them, and there was blood flowing everywhere on the square. So by the legend, the fountain is raised to commemorate the sacrifice of this Swedish nobleman who stood behind the formation of Sweden as an independent country. Because for a couple of hundred years we have been part of the Kalmar Union, and in large we were ruled by the Danes. Now this is another important place in Swedish history. It's called Tyska Brinken, or the German Small Street. And here, I don't know if you're possible to see, it's called Fruktet Gott fret the Konung. So basically, you should fear God and beware of your king. So basically, you should respect your king. And as you can probably guess, it's in German. And the Hanseatic Empire, the German trade empire, has had a very large influence on this place, because it is the bottom on which the city was very largely formed. So first there were Vikings, and after the time of Vikings there was a very important time of trade with especially Russia, which was extremely profitable for Sweden. And after the time of trade in Russia in 10th and 12th and 11th centuries came time of Hanseatic Empire, then time of Kalmar Union, and then Swedish independence. So for many, many centuries, this country has remained free, relatively prosperous, and one of the best things that I love about Sweden, it is focus on health and good food and being stress-free. In almost any type of rankings you will find in the world, people will always tell you that Sweden is the best place to live. And as a person who have lived in half a dozen countries for a longer time, I can actually confirm to that. Sweden is the place where I choose to live. I could have easily lived anywhere I want in the European Union, but I definitely think that this is the place to be, especially considering how Sweden has managed to go through the current time of crisis with relatively few number of casualties. It's in the middle of numbers for European Union, but at the same time the freedom was nearly maximized. The prohibition was very limited, and that's one of the other reasons why I love Sweden, because it's so free. So you probably can do what thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions and tens of millions have done before you. Come to Sweden and see for yourself, and then you can tell me whether it's true.